Hey, it's Coach EJ, the brand.
And Coach Aaron Thigpen, the source.
Aaron, welcome everyone. Welcome. Hey, Aaron, we got a guest today. You wanna introduce him since he's been with, game speed, hardball athletics for a long time. So I'm gonna let you turn it over to you, my friend.
Yeah, I want to introduce everyone to probably one of my favorite athletes. He's been with game speed so long. I don't even remember. I mean, he's been here so long, he probably gets his mail here now. But it's Major League pitcher Robert Stephenson. He's now with the Colorado Rockies. He was formerly with the Reds. First round draft pick. I don't remember the year. I'm bad with that kind of stuff. Yeah. 2011. And you've been with me, since 2008? 2009?
9 or 10, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
11 years.
Great guy. Excellent example of how an athlete should conduct himself, even as a high schooler. I tell this story all the time. And you hear me talk about what makes good athletes and what makes great athletes, and it's consistency and commitment, and this guy personifies it. I can literally say, throughout his high school career with me, here was a guy who was training with me 3 or 4 days a week, and he probably missed a workout for at least that period of time, maybe 5 times. I can count on one hand the number of times he missed a workout. I mean, you definitely got the almost the perfect attendance award with me, but that's a testament to his commitment and what has made him and taken him to this level today. So we just have him here today to kind of drop a little knowledge and some experience to some of our listeners out there. Maybe let's start off with a little bit of background about yourself and kind of where you've kind of come from.
Oh man, I don't know where to start.
Okay, high school.
So,
tell us about your high school career and kind of how that started, how you got started in baseball.
Okay, I went to Alhambra High School, Martinez. I was a skinny little kid throwing low 70s when I was in freshman year, and just started working out, getting in with Aaron, doing some of the other travel programs, and velo started jumping up. And really, I wasn't playing. I was just looking for a college team somewhere, and everything just kind of happened quickly my junior year, where everything fell into place, and I had scouts going to games, and it was weird. It was something I'd never thought about. I was looking at colleges, and then all of a sudden I've got major league teams looking at me. So it was a weird experience.
Now, there's a lot of kids nowadays that start very young, and they're on these club teams and travel teams. When did you start, and then when did you start to get serious? Obviously, when major league teams start calling, exactly, right. You start getting serious. But I mean, really, just in general, when did you start to get serious about baseball and saying, "Oh, hey, maybe I would like to play in college"?
I think where I really started getting serious was my freshman year. That's when I stopped playing. I started playing baseball exclusively. Started playing for a summer team, and it was a team that was pretty well recognized, and got some good exposure to college and professional scouts. And I think that's what really helped me get some exposure and just get better. And
that team he's talking about is NorCal Sports. Rob Bruno. Right, shout out to Rob.
Rob, give Rob some credit there.
Yeah,
give Rob some
credit. Got a good eye for talent, and Rob was actually the guy who introduced Robert to me.
Oh, okay.
So, as a youngster, did you play? Did you play prior to high school?
Yeah. I played. Started playing baseball when I was 7 or 8, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Went through Little League and everything from there on up.
So, Robert, question I have, what position did you play besides pitcher? Were you a pitcher, like, in these youth leagues, before high school and all this other stuff you were doing?
I did pitch, too. I pitch and play outfield. I tried out everything. I tried infield, and I was terrible there.
Right.
I caught a little bit, too. I didn't like that at all. I'd always hate being on that side of the ball. But, no, pitcher was mainly the thing that I was best at, but I did play outfield a little bit.
So, I think that's good for a lot of parents is don't, exclusively just pigeonhole your kid as a PO. Let them develop other skills and other athleticism so, their body can grow and they can start to understand how their body moves efficiently when they're playing. So that's a good testament right there, Robert, for sharing that with us.
Now, here's the kind of that traditional question. If you had to look back and talk to young Robert, what would you say to him in terms of what would you have done different? What was maybe, should have been important to you that maybe wasn't important now looking back, that you can kind of help these young guys that are coming in now. They don't, we get these kids of all ages, but
I think, the thing that I didn't realize until a little bit later was, when you feel like you're working hard, there's always another level to working hard, and it's always, once you get that competition where you've got other guys in the room and you see how hard they're working, that's where you really put yourself against them and see how hard you're actually working. And I feel like I didn't realize that until I got a little bit older. So I wish I would have known that sooner.
I mean, since I've seen you've always been a hard worker, but I know we've talked about being organized. Mm-hmm. And when did that really become important? Because we've talked about, again, I've seen you through a major part of your development. We had talks about nutrition and recovery and all those things. And even though, we started I can't remember when we started those things, but would you have maybe started those things sooner, or how would you have maybe played that a little bit better to set yourself up for success?
I mean, I'm still developing my plan right now, and I feel like it's just gotten better over the years, but it takes a while to get, a proper structure in place and exactly what you're looking for. I feel like you really have to sit down and think about what you want to get out of it and how you have to get there. And like I said, it's taken me a long time to get to where I am now, and there's obviously still, I can still go up from there too, but the planning part is as big as executing it.
Mm-hmm. Something I like to add, Robert, is I've known you since I've come and been here with Aaron a lot and watch you work. And Aaron and I talk about you a lot about management system and what we're doing, how we're going to get better. And, I want parents and young players to understand that it's not like Robert just shows up at game speed and just starts working out and does his own thing. There is actually a method, a plan, whether it's, recovery, conditioning, health, what you did before the prior season, how you're going to improve. So, I admire both you guys to watch you guys work together for so long. And I think, my personally being an ex-Major League player, the reason why you're staying in the big league is not only your ability, but your ability to continue to improve and get better and not just saying I'm in the big leagues and that's good enough. And that's what I respect about you, because a lot of guys don't get that. The hardest thing about being in big leagues is staying there.
Absolutely.
And having staying power. And it's not about just get there and it's over. No, it's about staying there, because the longer you stay there, the better it gets.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that's a big point, because even for your high schooler, they have that mentality of, okay, let me just get to that college scholarship,
right,
and that's it. And I think what personifies Robert is he's been able to put together a way of operating and a structure that works for him, that has continued to let him improve. And to be honest, maybe he did it the hard way because he didn't have that segue of collegiate training,
right,
that a lot of guys get, that sometimes helps them do that. Right. So my advice to a lot of these guys, and maybe you can speak upon this, Robert, is actually have that structure in place at least during high school.
Right.
So you have a way of operating that's going to ensure your success.
Well, I think the biggest part about setting a plan is you can put together your own plan if you want to, but I feel like you got to talk to people that know and have been around, and that's the best way to be able to figure out a plan, one that works for you, because trying to come up with something on your own, I've tried it, and it's not the easiest thing. It doesn't work as well as talking to people that know what they're doing.
Oh, he's saying find expertise. Same thing we've talked about on other podcasts. You have to find expertise. Right. You can't do it yourself. You're not going to be able to YouTube your way to the major leagues or to a scholarship. It just doesn't happen that way, guys.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. I can't reiterate that enough, is that, a lot of people think they can just, like ham and egg it. Like, I'll just take a little piece from here. Okay, learn a little bit here 1 year, and then I'll take this from another video I saw. It doesn't work that way. It's a management system that works. And having people that have expertise and the ability to translate it into the sport you're playing, into the skill development you're doing, that's what makes this thing special. And watching Robert over the years, that's been the best part of me, just admiring him and watching him work.
What was the biggest adjustment you had to make going from high school into minor league ball? Whether it's from a training standpoint, a performance standpoint, a mental standpoint. what maybe were some of the things that you had to say, oh, you know what? Okay,
Yeah.
This is not where I came from, and I've got to make some big changes.
You're going to get coaching, but it's not going to be the same as what you're used to in high school. And I'm sure it's, I didn't go to college, but I'm sure it's the same in college. You're kind of on your own out there, and you got to figure out what works for you, because there's a bunch of other guys on the team too that everyone else is looking out for. And, trying to get your own, personal time with somebody to help you isn't always going to be the easiest thing. So I feel like it's important to try to find your own way.
Good.
Yeah, that's good advice out there, because what's the biggest thing that you've seen, Robert? Just you've gone through the minor leagues. You've been you're going into your 7th season. Where am I at in your? How many years have you been doing
this will be my parts of 6 seasons.
Okay, so it's coming up on
or 5 seasons, something like that.
Yeah, you've been there for a minute, as they say. What's the biggest adjustment you've had to make in the big leagues?
So I think the biggest thing is the mentality. When you go from the minor leagues to the major leagues, I feel like you always look at guys, because you can go through every level of the minor leagues, and they say there's a jump from low A to high A to double A, whatever. But once you get from triple A to the big leagues, there's that aspect where you're looking at guys like, oh, I watched this guy play on TV, and it's like you have to tell yourself you belong there. And I feel like that's the hardest adjustment to make. Like, I belong here. I should be here with these guys playing on TV, not just, oh, I watched him play on TV.
You're one of those guys. No, that's great. That's great. That's a great thing.
That's good. Rivaling your idols. That's something that's,
we all do that, right?
It's happened to me in track and field.
Whether you realize it or not, you're thinking about it in the back of your head. I watched this guy play on TV.
I know exactly, right? You're like, oh, now I'm pitching against them and all that stuff. That's neat to say. Robert, one thing, and I want to just send out there to all the people, is that, Robert, you stayed with Aaron. I mean, you've had other opportunities to go to other places, and people say, hey, let's drag you over here and do that. Why do you continue to come back here to Game Speed?
Because
and work with Aaron?
First, he was the guy that got me there.
Right.
And he knows my body so well at this point. I've been coming to him for 10 plus years, and he knows how I function and just what's going to get me moving in the right direction. And I've gone other places too to supplement, but I feel like this has always been the best place for me to build a foundation from.
That's good. That's good. The foundation is important in what I call development of an athlete. And we talk about this a lot, Aaron, about this, this structure and this foundation that keeps on growing each year. And each year that foundation grows, you build a base, right?
Yeah. And what I like is that we've built a trust and an understanding that allows me to build a foundation, and then gives me the time to continue to build on the foundation. And we have a relationship where, again, we talked about the phases of training and interacting with your trainer.
Right.
And we're at the consulting phase. It's not just me saying, hey, Robert, do this, do this, do this. We always sit down and say, okay, what are we trying to accomplish this year?
Right.
And he'll articulate to me, hey, Aaron, this is some of the things I experienced this year. This is the direction I kind of want to go. What are your thoughts? And we collaborate and work together for that. And that's what I really like about working with Robert now, because he basically he steers the boat,
right?
And I'm just there to make the adjustments and give him some guidelines. So but I like that, and I appreciate that he's gotten to that point in his career, because every athlete basically should be able to train themselves at some point. And you just use the expertise to bounce things off of, maybe introduce new concepts, affirm some things that you're thinking, and maybe also hold you account to those things that you don't necessarily want to do. And Robert can attest to that. We've got the dead meal.
Everybody's got their things they don't like doing. Everybody's got them.
And he'll look at me and he's like, oh yeah, Aaron, why'd you remember that? And it's like, hey, it's just part of the medicine, dude. Got to take it. But he's a good sport about it. He's been there. He knows that this is just part of being an athlete, and he does it.
Well, I love that relationship between a player and a coach, and that's what makes that special. I hear so much of this in all the sports, whether it's golf, tennis, basketball shooting coach or baseball, football throwing coach. I hear all these things that's what makes that relationship so strong. So that's awesome.
Well, great. We'll end it at that. Robert, want to thank you for coming by. Want to wish you luck in this season. I know it's been crazy with COVID. Maybe we'll talk to you a little bit more about your experience with this whole COVID thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Give people kind of a behind the scenes thing on how you've been able to prepare for it. That's been a whole nother story in itself, how you guys have handled it with the organizations that with the Reds that you were with,
right,
and who you're going to now in the Rockies. But we're sure to have you back. I think you've got a lot of insight that is going to be good for all of our athletes of any sports, and how you handle yourself as an athlete, how you continue to grow and mature as an athlete. And again, there's one reason why we got your jersey up on that
That's
wall.
right.
Because you're a model for all the athletes that come in. Lastly, this guy is very humble.
Oh, super
This
humble.
guy works out even with our younger
Yes.
athletes. He's not a prima donna. He doesn't big league anyone.
No, he doesn't.
He's grounded. I love that.
Great mentor. So people out there, hey, hit us back. This is the brand, Eric Johnson.
And this is the source, Aaron Thigpen. And this is Robert Stephenson. Do you have a not hashtag, but Instagram or anything where people can follow you?
I got off social media. I can't stand it.
See? I love this guy. He's humble.
Just comes and works, right? I love that.
Love it.
All right.
This guy's fire and forget, but you won't forget Robert Stephenson. Look for him this year.
All right, Colorado Rockies people. We'll check you out later.
Peace.